Welcome to No Facts Needed, and today we're going to be talking about the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's jump right into it. Let's give our record predictions to it.
Hit a dinger with this one. What do you got?
3-13. What do you got?
2-14.
Oh, we're pretty close.
What's Vegas got them?
Vegas has them at a solid 5.5. Last year they went 2-14, so Vegas has them winning a few games. Mm-hmm. We don't have them winning at all.
A lot.
Let's talk about how they're going to get to that. Let's talk about their schedule. Their division is probably one of the hardest divisions to play in. They play the Browns,
Steelers, and Ravens.
Ravens.
So that's 6 losses off the bat.
It's going to be hard for them. They do play the NFC East. They have the Giants and Washington. That should be – they could potential
win
wins.
those.
That also has the Cowboys and the Eagles.
Probably both losses.
Yeah, and then they also play the AFC South, Colts, Texans, Titans, and Jags.
Yeah.
They have a chance against all those teams, but probably not. They'll probably lose all those. And then they also
could beat the Jags.
Yeah.
They kind of suck too.
They also play the Dolphins and the Chargers. Dolphins, they have a chance. Chargers, maybe. I mean,
you never know with the Chargers.
So yeah, their schedule goes up and down a lot, but it's pretty tough. So let's talk about what's happened already. Their off season. Let's talk about their gains. Mm-hmm. I will say they had a good draft. They got Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Logan Wilson. Mm-hmm. All rookies are coming up. And then their signings, I didn't think their signings were that good.
I thought they were okay. I thought they paid a lot for them.
They did pay a lot. So DJ Reader got 4 years, $53 million, and Trey Waynes got 3 years, $42 million. They also got Mackenzie Alexander and Von Bell. Mm-hmm. Just a lot of role players pretty much, yeah. But I agree. They paid out a lot of money to these guys.
It's not the worst thing in the world. Well, I mean, they've sucked, so it can't be bad to get quality starters.
Yeah.
But they did pay a lot of money for them.
Yeah. We can talk about who they lost. They lost Andy Dalton, Pete Glenn, Andrew Billings, Darqueze Dennard, John Miller, and Drake Kirkpatrick. Mm-hmm. With the whole Andrew Billings, Darqueze Dennard, and Drake Kirkpatrick, I think it's just DJ Reader, Andrew Billings, kind of like the same guy. They paid more. I just think they switched out a lot of players about the same talent, maybe a little bit more, just for a lot more money. Mm-hmm. So what are your thoughts about this?
I think the larger theme is why didn't they get more blockers?
Yeah.
In the draft and in free agency.
Mm-hmm.
Because their O-line is so bad. And we'll get to that in a second, but that's a major hole. And then, I mean, yeah, the secondary pieces, I definitely think those corners that they brought in are just replacing the ones that they let walk. They got Von Bell, but we're going to talk about him. And then, yeah, DJ Reader is an upgrade, I think, over Billings, just because he's a little bit more of a threat to rush the passer, but
yeah,
he's not exactly going to change the course of your season. So
in total, I don't think this was a very good offseason.
It could be worse.
I
mean, hopefully you got your franchise quarterback, so that's a positive.
Yeah, their draft was good, but their free agent signings, I think they just switched on a lot of people for more money. Mm-hmm. I think we can go into the team now, talk about them. So let's start off the bat with coaches.
Yeah, they got a middle school staff.
Pretty much.
Straight rookies last year.
I kind of want to explain this to people because I honestly didn't know until I looked it up. So Zach Taylor was the Rams. He's their head coach. He was with the Rams for 2 years. When he was there, he was only an assistant wide receiver coach and a quarterbacks coach. Brian Callahan was with the Broncos, and he's their offensive coordinator. He was their QB coach for the Lions and Raiders and Broncos. And then Lou Anarumo is their defensive coordinator, and he was the DB coach for the Dolphins and Giants. This is, for all three of the main guys, this is their first time being at a head coordinator spot.
Well, it was last year.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
So, like you said,
that's pretty unprecedented.
It's pretty sad.
It's a bold move. We see these people, they break off from these systems that become so popular, and sometimes they just can't adapt.
Yeah.
They don't have anything extra. They might know how to run Sean McVay's system, but when everybody knows how to stop the initial system, Sean McVay is going to adapt, whereas Zach Taylor, he might not.
Yeah. So let's talk about their team. The people actually on the field playing ball,
Yeah.
Start with QB. How about you talk about Joe Burrow?
Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
He's got some swag. At least he's exciting for the Bengals. I mean, they had Andy Dalton for so long. But, I mean, he's fresh off, like, probably the best quarterback season we've ever seen in college.
Mm-hmm.
He showed a lot of things. He can improvise, you know.
Yeah.
He's an underrated athlete, I guess. And he throws a really good ball.
One thing I do like about him is that he's good at pre-snap reads.
Mm-hmm.
He showed that at LSU, and with this coaching staff that doesn't seem to really know what they're doing too much, I think him already knowing kind of how to do the pre-snap reads is really going to help him. You want to go into running back?
Yeah.
You talk about Joe Mixon because he seems to be one of your favorite guys in the league.
Yeah, I like Joe a lot.
He's really good.
He's a beast.
Yeah.
He's really good. I mean, he does everything you need. 2 or 3 down back in today's game, about as close as you could be, I guess.
I really like Joe Mixon. Kind of like you said, he's an all-around back. He can catch. And even with this god-awful O-line, which we'll talk about later, he's been able to, 2 years ago, he was able to average almost 5 yards a carry, and last year he averaged 4.1, which would definitely be better if he had a good O-line. So he's really been able to put this team on his back as much as a running back can.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about wide receivers. For me, it's kind of a really weird group.
I like it a lot.
I do too, but I think they'd be good or really good if they had A.J. Green. But also, I don't even know if A.J. Green's going to be that good when he comes back.
Well, we saw news today that he signed the tag.
Yeah.
So he is at least, he's going to come to training camp. It's so long ago that he was, like, really good that, like, in my mind, he's still really good. But I guess we honestly, we don't really know.
Yeah, he could have fallen off.
I'm going to treat it like A.J. Green is still a top, I don't know, 15 receiver at the least.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, a lot of this hinges on him being there, of course, because you don't want these guys to have to take his role and be number one. But with him there, the receiving core is a strength.
Yeah. We can talk about Tyler Boyd.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't like amazing or great, but I think he's done as much as he can with what he's given, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of unprecedented for a guy his size to play in the slot.
Yeah.
But he's been really good at it, so hats off to him. And then outside of him, they'll probably have T. Higgins.
Yeah. Rookie.
Yeah, from Clemson. So, I don't know. That could be an interesting trio.
Let's move on to their sad position, the tight end. Uzoma. He's a 6'6", 260 tight end that can't catch, but he can block. Like, he can catch, I guess. Technically, he can catch. He's not a receiving tight end.
He's a good athlete.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot there. They definitely need somebody else. He's just a blocking tight end.
Now you want to move on to the really depressing part.
Really, really sad.
Yeah.
The O-line. Poor Joe Burrow. He's going to get
It's the worst
destroyed.
in the league. I don't really think it's close.
Last year it was. I will say definitely.
Well,
this year it might be better because they're getting Jonah Williams back. He was the 11th pick last year, and he never played a game because he was hurt. So he comes back. He's going to give them some talent, some value. I still think they're one of the worst.
I think they took the crown from the Dolphins from last year as the worst O-line this year.
One thing I want to say about them is that they have some guys like Bobby Hart, Billy Price, who was also a first-round pick, Trey Hopkins, who was a starter last year, Xavier Suafilo, Michael Jordan. A lot of these guys that people kind of know and that they really just like kind of put in and out because they're all pretty bad. So they're like, all right, you get some minutes because the other guy can't play and then he can't play. So then they all really just go back and forth within the O-line.
Well, Billy Price, I mean, he's been pretty much a miserable first-round pick.
Yeah.
All these other guys, these are people you would want like to fill in if your starter went down. Guys like Suafelu and Redmond and Hopkins. Unfortunately, they're probably starters on this team.
All right, let's move on to their defense, starting out with the D-line.
Okay.
So we got Dunlap and Atkins, both out of their prime guys, but still have value. You know, Geno Atkins is good up the middle. He can get some sacks, but he's a good run stuffer. Dunlap actually had like 9 sacks. He had 9 sacks last year. That was kind of surprising. Still not the guy he used to be. They also have Hubbard with 8.5 sacks last year, and guys like Carl Lawson or Ryan Glaslow. You know, it's not the worst, but it's not the best. I'll take it. You know, if I was the Bengals, I'd be okay with this. I definitely want to upgrade other positions, but I'm not happy with it.
Yeah, they need a real number 1 pass rusher. Dunlap at this point is best sat as a number 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have a good duo on the interior between Reeder and Atkins. And then they also have some good guys like Rennell Wren, I think, is solid as like a 3rd or 4th.
Yeah.
So that's not their issue. But, yeah, on the edge, they're going to have Dunlap and then some combination of Hubbard and Carl Lawson, who was great as a rookie but has not been able to stay healthy like ever since.
Yeah.
So, that kind of hurts.
It's a team that I don't think they're going to allow to... I think they're going to be good in the run, but I don't think they're going to get a lot of sacks. Like, they're going to get in their face, but they're not going to produce numbers.
Yeah, and pass rush is what you really need from your edge positions at least. So these guys are going to be able to play the run, but there's going to be games where they're needing a pass rush and they just can't get it for sure.
Yeah.
And then if you want to go to the linebacker room,
yeah, we can start with them.
They're
pretty bad.
They brought in Josh Bynes from Baltimore, who was actually not bad for them, but you got to take that with a grain of salt. He's playing for the Ravens now. He's going to the Bengals. So. Yeah,
he's 30 years old and only played 1 full season.
Yeah,
that's not good for him.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably gonna get hurt again. They also have they drafted Logan Wilson. He's a guy that might be good, but he's not huge. He's not a physical specimen. He's not super athletic. He was able to make plays in college, but he's not going to do any. He's not going to be a game changer for them. He's just going to be another guy that's going to be viable and going to be okay until you get a really good guy in there.
Yeah, I think he's going to be able to play the run, which is a valuable trait, but he's probably going to start, honestly.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of see what he has to offer other than that. And honestly, this is depressing me again. So you want to move to the corners?
Yeah, let's move to DBs. The secondary.
Mm-hmm.
Actually pretty good. Well, they have 2 good guys, Jesse Bates and William Jackson. Jesse Bates is actually really good. William Jackson is good, not great, low-end number 1 guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then Trey Waynes and Mackenzie Alexander and Von Bell. All those guys are all right. They're viable. They can start, and you're not going to be mad about them, but you definitely want to improve from them.
Yeah, I think, Trey Waynes is a solid number 2. Not mad at that. Mackenzie Alexander in the slot is okay. Not ideal again. They have Sean Williams, who was their strong safety last year and the year before. I don't know where Von Bell is going to play necessarily, because I think Jesse Bates is pretty much penciled in as the free safety, as the center fielder. So I don't know if he's going to be like a third, if he's going to play the nickelback. He is pretty small, but that's going to be interesting to see. Is he going to play strong? I don't really know. But, he was good with New Orleans, but I don't know how much of that is dependent on the Saints.
Let's talk about where they are right now. I think it's pretty obvious to see.
They're rebuilding.
They're in a rebuild.
They're in the bottom floor, and they're kind of looking up.
I will say they might have potential to make the playoffs, at their very best.
You sound like Vegas right now.
Pretty much. But they won't. Not in this division. Their division's too rough. If they're in a worse division, with their defense isn't atrocious. Their linebackers are, but everybody else is like, it's all right, They can make plays. They have playmakers on offense. So they might be able to get 5 wins. I think that's about their max.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, they're in a rebuild. They still they need a few more pieces to get to the playoffs.
I think a theme that we're going to see with a lot of these teams at the bottom is they don't have a lot of pass rush capability.
Mm-hmm.
And that really is going to hold you back.
Pass rush and O-line.
Pass. I'm talking from a defensive perspective.
Yeah.
You need to be able to cover and rush the passer. If you can't do either one of those things, it's looking pretty grim. And those 2 things play off each other as well. So, like for the Bengals' sake, they have they have solid corners, not like top tier, but they have no pass rush. So that combined with their already kind of lackluster corners is not a good combination.
Yeah.
But yeah. So while their defense might not be completely trash, there's going to be some games where it doesn't look pretty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about some good stuff about this team.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about their pros. What are they? They have Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
He could be a franchise QB.
Probably what they have to look forward to, I put Burrow.
Yeah, I think Burrow, and they have some good offensive weapons. I'm a fan of Tyler Boyd. Like you said, you like Mixon. They have some guys on offense. Jesse Bates for sure is I think if he was on a better defense, he'd definitely be looked at as one of the better safeties in the league. But he's on the Bengals, so people don't really look at him too much. They have like players that like have high potential or good talent. And then let's talk about the cons. Just as a whole, they're not there yet. They just don't have enough talent all around.
I put for what they have to worry about in the future is protecting Burrow. Yeah. I think that needs to be priority number 1, A, B, and C.
And D and E.
For next offseason is to protect Joe Burrow. Because we've seen you do not want your quarterback to be damaged goods by the time you finally have a core around him. Or else it's bad news bears.
Yeah. Also, I'd like to say their coaches. I don't think we really said this enough. This could be the downfall of this team for the next couple of years. If they stick with this coaching group, they could be talented, but I'm not a believer.
You kind of get a pass for a bad first year,
yeah.
Especially when you knew you were going to be bad going in. But
he can also get a pass for this year as long as there's improvement within the team. If there's improvement, if they go to like 4 or 5 wins, I'd say 5 wins would be a good season for them.
Well, maybe not even a win mark. You just need to have flash. Like, you need to have a game or two a season where you say, okay, we could do this. If we can do this, we can be good. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment down your record predictions, what you think about the Bengals.
Follow us, Instagram,
Facebook,
Twitter, Facebook.
All social media accounts.
Listen on Spotify or Apple.
Yep. And see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.